An AEW star has been sidelined with a heartbreaking injury. A major AEW talent has no interest in AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door Supershow, and we've got huge spoilers for next week's taped SmackDown. Stick around to the end to find out all the juicy gossip. We're kicking this one off on a bit of a sad note today as we look over to AEW with Sean Ross Sapp tweeting out, "Unfortunately, we've learned that Darius Martin is sidelined with an injury again. The only details we can share is that he's expected to miss quite a bit of time. Get well soon, Darius." And then this was quickly followed up with a report from Fightful Select, adding details saying Top Flight member Darius Martin sustained a leg injury fairly recently and is sidelined from action. We've reached out to Darius and AEW for more, but can confirm that he'll be replaced on this weekend's Warrior Wrestling show. The situation is a heartbreaker as Darius only recently returned from a torn ACL that left him out of action for over a year.
It's really sad. He's as it says there, he's literally just back, and it seems that Dante Martin had a very good year without his brother there.
Yeah.
They've just got back together and it seemed right. They could be a top tag team in AEW, and it looks like it's going to be a while before we see them together again. Yeah, it's a great opportunity again for Dante.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll excel at this point, but you want to see Darius get better. You want to see him get in the ring, and this is it's just tragic that he's not going to get that opportunity.
Well, this is it. I think, the nature of the beast in wrestling is sometimes that things don't go quite to plan, and, injuries are always, they're not a certainty, of course, but injuries are always there on the table, potentially. But it's just, sometimes you get it lined up in such a way like this where it is just absolutely gutting. So, all the best to him. But Darius himself actually took to Twitter to clarify something about the injury, though. And he said, "What I'm currently dealing with had nothing, all capital letters, to do with wrestling. But I'm glad everyone else out there seems to know more about my health than I do." So I guess there's a bit more to the situation than we've heard about so far.
Hopefully, if he's saying that and he's putting a report or letting people know that he's going to tell you about his health more than anyone else. Hopefully, it's not as bad as Sean Ross Sapp reported. Hopefully Darius himself will update us, and he'll be back in the ring soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
More on this one as it develops, but keeping it with AEW now. MJF took to Twitter last night to post something that I can't really read into. You can't really read into anything this guy posts or says or does.
You never know whether he's in keeping with the storylines and
the reason that I've included this one today is simply because it comes quite close after some interesting comments he'd made earlier. But last night he took to Twitter and he posted, "Stop booking me and tagging me in dream matches for the Forbidden Door show. Not doing it." And as I was saying, you can't what? They can't run this show without MJF.
He's someone you want to see get battered in strong style. Yeah. Put him in with Suzuki.
Put him in there with anybody.
Shibata.
Oh my God, I can't. I'm sorry, MJF, if you're watching. I just kind of really want to see you wrestle the New Japan guys. But as I was saying, it comes not too long off the back of some interesting comments he made in an interview with Ariel Helwani, where he said, "I see everything and watch everything except New Japan. New Japan sucks. It's just the S's. There's some guys that are cool, but not my thing. They're just cracking each other over the skull over and over again. They're just dummies. Concussions are real." But I think it'd be a shame, we've got potentially some comedic stuff in there. We could do a Toru Yano, or we could have MJF versus like an absolute goer in somebody like Sonata, or, Jay White, which is one that he often tweets about telling people to stop.
He's asked people to stop. It's a possible match that has people very excited. MJF, Jay White. I mean, Jay White has got a great moveset and very skilled in the ring, and I think they could put on an absolute banger.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt that anybody they were to put him with in a situation like this, I think they'd have a great match. But I don't know. Something about this one, it's a bit weird.
A good heel move would be to actually not wrestle on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And just refuse to. just refuse to do it, which he's doing now. And that
just
makes us
a front
angry.
row ticket and
we
turns
both want
around
to see
and
him get
faces
battered.
the audience.
Just that's exactly what he needs to do. Don't wrestle on the show, but we want to see you get battered.
So, just to jump over to the SmackDown side of the fence, we've had taping last night. So SmackDown, well, WWE are going to be in the UK kicking off their European tour next week. And so they did a back-to-back taping last night. Just to quickly run down last night's SmackDown, as there's a couple of little things here and there before we move into the spoilers. So no spoilery do's yet. If you're not too bothered about watching last night's episode, here we go. So Drew Gulak is now officially Adam Pearce's new assistant, essentially stepping into the role.
He's the new Sonya. He's the new Sonya. Yeah.
Which, there's a lot of room to move in that role. I think all of us thought Sonya was going to be stifled a little bit by it.
Yeah, we mentioned that yesterday. She's really excelled in the past year. So maybe this is the little thing that Drew Gulak needs to add to his character.
Yeah. Well, this week he got beat up by Ronda Rousey rather than Charlotte Flair, as he was there presiding over their contract signing for their Backlash I Quit match. Sorry, WrestleMania Backlash.
WrestleMania, get all the branding, and it's the premium live event, WrestleMania Backlash.
And he brought back his PowerPoint presentation shtick. This is going to basically boil over into next week's show, which is going to be an I Quit Beat the Clock challenge. Each woman's going to face a different opponent, see how fast they can get the submission victory, and then they'll compare times, and whoever got the fastest victory wins. No opponents had been announced on last night's show. Ricochet will defend the IC title against Shanky in next week's episode. Raquel Rodriguez will be making her in-ring debut next week on the show. No opponent announced so far. We had Xavier Woods defeating Butch, we had Gunther defeating Teddy Goods, Riddle defeat Jey Uso, Moss defeat Garza, Drew defeats Sammy via count out in a lumberjack match.
Roll that one back.
Yeah.
A count out in a lumberjack match? What's
you
going on?
You have to physically flee.
So
that's Sammy fled.
The lumberjacks are there for a reason. Yeah, he ran from Drew's massive sword.
He waited until the lumberjacks got a bit too distracted fighting each other, and he made his exit. In a dark segment as well after the show, Mansoor was added to Night Model Management by LA Knight. Mace was brought out for the crowd. He has a new Tron to go with the new theme he's been using recently. And finally, Xia Li cut a backstage promo, and she said, my name is Xia Li. I was the protector, but I see no one worthy of my protection. Now I protect myself. Felt very heely, so it looks like Li is in for a
surprising wee heel turn. Yeah, I might add a new edge to her character. I guess the women's roster is a bit short on heels.
Yeah.
We've seen Rhea turn heel. Xia Li turning heel. It adds to the depth.
I think when she's already kind of had that ominous Healy run going through NXT, and I love that. So hopefully they can build on it. But to move over now to next week's SmackDown. So this spoilers. Is the thing. If you don't want spoilers for next week's SmackDown, then Tatty Bye will be back in a bit with some more news in which we will not mention any of the SmackDown spoilers. So this is it. See you later if you don't want spoilers.
Run away.
You're here. You want spoilers?
Stay.
Right, let's go. So, as I said, they're taping this because, they taped this because they're on the European tour next week. Just a quick bit of house cleaning though. European tour usually means
coming to Newcastle.
Yeah. Whoa. Which also means that we're going to be getting an interview with Drew McIntyre.
My boy.
So Tom Campbell will be chatting to Drew McIntyre on the Cultaholic YouTube channel this weekend at some point.
That's very exciting. Drew's a great lad.
Keep an eye out for that. Lad. He is like, isn't he?
So's Tom.
As wide as two fridges stuck
They're just
together.
Innocent men. Just innocent men. Just normal men.
So we have Sheamus defeating Kofi, Woods defeating Ridge Holland. We had Raquel Rodriguez defeat an enhancement talent
that
went
weird
nameless.
Name. Enhancement talent.
In her SmackDown debut. Ricochet retained his IC over Shanky. And then a rift apparently started to form, or at least it felt that way, between Shanky and Mahal. So we could be about to see that fall apart. Ronda defeated Shotzi in her I Quit Beat the Clock challenge. And then Charlotte went afterwards. And surprisingly, Charlotte couldn't get the job done in time. She went up against Aaliyah, and she locked in the figure four just as time was expiring. Ooh. So Ronda coming out better there ahead
it's not of like the Ronda's a UFC fighter who's notorious for ending matches quick. Who could have seen that one going?
Yeah, who could have thought? Madcap Moss appeared on Happy Talk with Corbin, and then both ended up brawling with one another to close out the segment. So trouble in paradise, trouble in paradise. Naomi defeated Shayna Baszler. Drew defeated Sammy in a steel cage because Sammy, ran away last week. And there was also a contract signing between RK Bro and the Usos for their Backlash title unification match. A brawl broke out with Roman kind of getting involved, and then Drew McIntyre emerged. Drew comes down, helps break everything up, gets into it with Roman, and then the two face off and just kind of stare each other out.
Now, we were speculating yesterday. Yesterday on the news, we covered that Reigns will be involved in WrestleMania Backlash. He will have a match, and both me and Tom, I'd said Shinsuke Nakamura made sense. Tom was saying Drew. But we thought it was a bit too early for Drew to get this match against Reigns. Like, we feel that maybe should be built up for the UK pay-per-view that seems to be happening in September.
This is what was running through my head as I was looking over all of the notes that had been coming in. Essentially, I was like, well, Reigns, Drew, you could build to that for the UK show because it's an easy, we got a British headliner. Yeah. There you go. But at the same time, it's just far too early for that now. So I don't know what the plan's going to be.
Build for this match. It's getting a week's build, and it feels like it should be much more. It should be a bigger match.
What if we're supposed to hate Roman? Just have him not wrestle. I know they can't do that. He's a draw.
Yeah. I mean, Brock does it. Brock does that.
Brock does it. So but, Brock's also got a cowboy hat and sleeveless flannel.
Who's going to win?
It's got to be Reigns.
Yeah.
The Reigns is,
Reigns lose.
Yeah, if it had been built to for a year, then I'd be like, oh, Drew. But, if it's this quick and it's this fast a turnaround, then it's got to be Reigns.
But it's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to the match.
Oh, yeah, it should be an absolute barnstormer regardless. Yeah. But, just a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's it for your first dose of lovely weekend bumper weekend wrestling news. I've been Sam. This has been Fraser.
Thank you.
And we will catch you in a bit.
Catch you soon.
Bye.